You log in, you see rollerblades, a retro terminal, and a character casually throwing motorcycles at enemies, and you immediately know version 3.0 is not here to be subtle. Today, we're breaking down everything you need to know about Lynae, the newest 5-star Resonator in version 3.0. Yo, welcome back to the channel. Kamusta sa inyo lahat. Before I start, I have to say this was an unusually lucky summons haul, pulling Lynae, Carthasia's weapon, and the standard banner pistol all in just 10 pulls. So yes, thank you, Kuro. Lynae is one of those characters that looks ridiculous on paper and somehow feels even stronger in practice. She leans fully into the new Toon Break system, provides a frankly unreasonable amount of team-wide buffs, and still manages to be extremely easy to pilot once you understand the flow. She is not a hyper carry. She is not a passive bench buffer. Lynae sits in that dangerous middle ground where she does a bit of everything, and she does all of it well. In this video, I am giving you a clear, honest breakdown of Lynae without the hype or the doom posting. Before we go deeper, if you ever feel short on Asterites or Lunites, you can top up using my Loot Bar link down in the description and pinned comment. Today, Loot Bar has a special Christmas Day promo with massive discounts on top-up. Loot Bar has excellent Trustpilot scores and is trusted by tens of thousands of Wuwa players. Their DIY top-up lets you get discounts safely without giving away your password. Using my link gives you up to 25% off, plus an extra 10% off your first purchase. So yeah, try them out using my link. Now, let's get back to the actual reason you are here. Lynae is strong, and in the current roster, she's arguably one of the best pure support options available. Even when equipped with the new standard banner weapon, she performs her role extremely well. You do not need perfect gear or niche setups to unlock her core strengths. Her kit is built around enabling the rest of the team, rather than demanding constant attention or micromanagement, and that design philosophy shows in actual gameplay. The centerpiece of her value lies in her Toon Break mechanics. Lynae can trigger breaks with impressive consistency, and this is not just a nice bonus, but a defining feature of how she supports her team. These breaks create frequent damage windows that typically last around 2 to 3 seconds. In practice, that means your main damage dealer is repeatedly handed clean opportunities to unload without interruption. Over the course of a fight, those small windows add up to a very real increase in overall team damage. Because these breaks happen often, Lynae naturally rewards teams that are ready to capitalize on them. You are not waiting for one massive setup or a long cooldown cycle. Instead, combat flows in short bursts of pressure, followed by immediate payoff. This makes her especially appealing for players who value consistency and tempo over gambling everything on a single rotation. However, it is important to set expectations correctly, especially if you're approaching Lynae as a support first and foremost. Her personal damage is not the reason she shines. While she feels fast and responsive on the field, her numbers do not magically skyrocket without investment. At lower investment levels, you should not expect eye-catching damage showcases. She contributes, but she does not dominate the damage chart. At sequence 0, her personal output generally sits below Lupa when you compare similar scenarios and levels of investment. This is not a flaw so much as a reflection of her intended role. Lynae is designed to elevate others rather than compete with them for top damage. If you try to force her into a primary damage dealer slot without the necessary resources, you will likely feel underwhelmed. That said, her damage does scale meaningfully with investment. Players who commit higher quality echoes, stronger weapons, and refined rotations will see her numbers climb. The difference is that this scaling feels optional rather than mandatory. She functions well as a low-friction support, and additional damage becomes a bonus rather than a requirement. From an energy standpoint, Lynae is relatively forgiving. She does not suffer from the severe uptime issues that plague some supports. In most teams, aiming for around 120% energy regeneration is sufficient to keep her rotation smooth. With that threshold met, she can maintain consistent access to her abilities without awkward downtime or forced delays. This energy comfort contributes heavily to her overall ease of use. You are not constantly adjusting your rotation or sacrificing other stats just to keep her functional. Instead, she slots cleanly into a wide range of teams and adapts to their pacing rather than dictating it. Where Lynae begins to feel more complicated is survivability. This is the area where I have the most reservations, and it is something players should take seriously when building teams around her. Her gunplay naturally favors close to mid-range positioning. While this makes her gameplay feel active and engaging, it also exposes her to more incoming damage than you might expect from a support. In extended fights or high-pressure content, this vulnerability becomes noticeable. Without proper support, Lynae can be chipped down quickly, especially when enemies punish positioning mistakes. Because of this, running an additional healer is often a smart decision depending on your team composition. If your team revolves around a dominant main damage dealer like Augusta, this issue is less pronounced. Augusta can end fights quickly enough that Lynae's exposure rarely becomes a problem. In these cases, you can often get away with lighter defensive support and focus on maximizing offensive uptime. On the other hand, in Uno-focused teams, survivability becomes much more critical. These teams tend to engage in longer exchanges, and Lynae's close-range tendencies can put her at risk. Bringing a dedicated healer such as Shorekeeper makes a noticeable difference here. The added sustain allows Lynae to stay active without constantly flirting with 0 HP during extended encounters. But then again, I don't have her fully built yet, so things might change once she is maxed. This fragility also helps explain why Mornier appears intentionally designed to pair well with her. Mornier's kit naturally covers many of Lynae's defensive gaps, creating a partnership that feels deliberate rather than coincidental. Together, they form a more stable core that allows Lynae to play aggressively without being punished as harshly. There are also some mechanical quirks worth mentioning. One of my personal dislikes is her leap animation. Compared to other characters, it lacks presence and height. It feels low to the ground, and more importantly, it can be interrupted more easily than expected. In hectic combat scenarios, this can lead to frustrating moments where Lynae is caught mid-action. When you combine that with her relatively weak parrying capability, the result is a unit that can collapse very quickly if mistakes stack up. She does not forgive sloppy timing or poor positioning. Players who rely heavily on parries for safety may need to adjust their habits when piloting Lynae. Despite these weaknesses, Lynae remains an exceptional support when used with intention. Her strengths are not flashy in isolation, but they are extremely impactful over time. She smooths rotations, creates reliable damage windows, and accelerates the flow of combat in a way few supports currently match. When it comes to aesthetics and character design, Lynae is easily one of the prettiest characters the game has ever released, at least in my opinion. I am not usually into blondes, but she is genuinely charming, and her overall presentation clearly captures that student vibe, especially when compared alongside Chisa. Outside of combat, Lynae is simply fun to use. The motorbike alone feels like a built-in minigame, and even without it, her skating movement is fluid and liberating, making exploration and traversal noticeably more enjoyable. For sequences, Sequence 1 is quality of life and slight rotation smoothing. Sequence 2 is the major power spike, significantly improving her outro buffs. Higher sequences improve damage and change her flow, but most players will be perfectly fine stopping early. If you are choosing between sequences and her signature weapon, the weapon is generally more cost-effective for team damage. The key to getting the most out of Lynae is understanding what she is and what she is not. She is not a tank, and she is not a primary damage dealer without investment. She is a tempo setter, a break enabler, and a force multiplier for teams that are ready to exploit short, frequent opportunities. If you build around those strengths, manage her energy properly, and respect her survivability limits, Lynae rewards you with a faster, cleaner, and more controlled combat experience. In the current meta, That combination of efficiency and flexibility is exactly what makes her one of the strongest support units available right now. If this video resonated with you, please leave a like and subscribe. Ring that bell for massive version 3.0 gacha luck and maybe a sandwich. Thank you so much for watching. Maraming salamat po, and I will see you in my next video drop. Goodbye.